And Suella Braverman has been given the green light by Downing Street to float the idea of leaving the European Convention on Human Rights as a warning shot to the Strasbourg court not to block deportation flights to Rwanda. Ministers are confident they can overturn a Court of Appeal ruling in June that concluded the policy did not comply with Britain's obligations under the ECHR, but are fearful Strasbourg will allow legal challenges that could lead to delays to deportation flights. So, Anne, great to have you back on the show. Should the plans be firmed up sooner rather than later? Should we ditch that ECHR?
Well, we certainly should, but it is a complex business. We're tied into ECHR, not just in a single treaty, but in a whole series of treaties which specify complying with ECHR. So it is going to be a complicated process, but I don't want that to be made the excuse. I would like now Rishi Sunak to say right away that it is our intention, not floating ideas, it is our intention, our firm intention, to leave ECHR. And he can admit that it will take a while and not to build up expectations like he did over Rwanda, but instead to say that this is nevertheless the direction of travel, this is what we're doing, we've had enough. I mean, that's what he just needs to say to them. We've had enough.
Indeed so. However, do we not risk the opprobrium of the world if we pull out? Britain becomes a rogue state.
Well, there are lots and lots of countries that do not comply with ECHR rulings. We are, as ever, totally wholly on that score. And they're not regarded as a rogue state. They're not lessened in world opinion because they don't actually implement some of the rulings. And I think we just have to say, look, we didn't bring it to this stage. It was brought to this stage through the world not the world, actually, EU, basically, trying to interfere in our internal policies and in our immigration policies. And it's got no right to do that. So I think we just say, sorry, we're leaving. That might galvanize them actually then to review some of their judgments and to take a different approach. And that's different. That's different. If the threat is enough, that's fine. But I doubt if it will be, not with that lot.
And of course, notwithstanding that the ECHR's rulings are just advisory, this would be a strong message, wouldn't it? Not just in terms of the UK to the illegal drug and people trafficking gangs, but also a message to the British people that the government are serious about this issue.
Well, yes, it would be a very welcome message. I mean, I'm still waiting for some action somewhere that shows the government is serious. I mean, I did believe it was serious when it suggested Rwanda, but what's it done about it? Absolutely nothing at all. Just hung around waiting on rulings in the middle of the night, and this sort of nonsense. Yes, what I want to see is I want to see action. I don't want to hear words anymore. I don't want to hear Priti Patel floating. Did I say Priti Patel? I meant Suella Braverman floating, leaving the ECHR. I don't want to see that. I want to actually see action. Actions speak louder than words. I'm tired of Rishi's promises. I'm tired of Suella's endless pontificating on what a dreadful state of affairs the immigration system is and doing absolutely nothing about it except putting everybody who comes into expensive hotels and handing the bill to the taxpayer. That's all they're doing.
And what are Suella Braverman's motivations? Is she out there trying to make a difference, or is she auditioning for the Tory leadership?
Well, if she's auditioning for the Tory leadership, I think she will be told to go home. Because if you're going to lead the Tory party, then you need to have a record of action, not a record of fine words. And that's all this is. I'm tired of hearing from them all these condemnations of the things that exist without any action. They got thousands of proposals, but no action.
Well, I agree with you, Anne. We saw that in the Brexit negotiations, and when we were told we can't do that and this treaty can't be reopened. And then Lord Frost steps in, and he was the man of action, and he made a difference. We need a Lord Frost-type figure to grasp the nettle.
Well, before you get too carried away by Lord Frost, I must point out that he is in a large measure responsible for the unholy mess we've got in Northern Ireland. That was the treaty that we negotiated. But the fact is that any government of any country in the world can extricate itself from treaties, providing they go through due process, can extract themselves from treaties. And that is what we've got to do. We've got to extricate ourselves from the ECHR and do it. Not talk about it, not float it. Do it.
And the European Court of Justice has fined the UK £28 million. And that was in the last few days as an EU member. That relates to our period of membership. £28 million. Should we tell them where they can put that money?
Well, I might not phrase it quite like that, but yes, I think that's probably exactly what we should do.
Should we pay the fine, Anne? What do we do you think?
No, we don't pay the fine at all. We say it's a nonsense. This is even as if we were breaking the core of the agreement, which was in the nature of the fuels. It was the marking that was wrong. Well, honestly, it's too trivial to even consider. I would just say I would laugh, actually, in the EU's face, just laugh in their face and say, no go. We're not paying. We're just not paying a penny.
But the law's the law, Anne.
The law is the law, but this is a technicality. We've just got to stand up to them. Otherwise, they'll be forevermore trying to get us on the basis of technicalities. We've got to say this wasn't serious and we're not paying. Just say we're not paying.
And you are a best-selling author. You are a television personality. You were an extremely principled government minister and an MP that served your constituents with care and distinction. You're amazing on GB News and you smashed it on Strictly. As has Angela Rippon. What's your verdict on Angela Rippon's stint on the BBC One dance show?
Well, Angela is more than 10 years older than I was when I did Strictly. And she's a much more accomplished dancer, and she does actually understand movement to music. Now, I didn't understand all of those things. I think this is terrific. And that high kick that Angela did, was an accomplishment. Mine was entertaining, but hers was an accomplishment.
Can she go all the way, Anne, like you doing on the floor there?
I would love to see her win. I would love to see her win, but, the competition will pan out. We'll see who comes to the fore and, what it's like. It's too early to say it.
Was it a happy experience for you, Strictly?
Oh, rather, yes. Come on. It's 3 months in the arms of Anton Dubek.
Well, listen, I'm jealous of Anton. Anne, we'll catch you next week. Thank you so much for joining us.